Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Today we're going to create a card with the Spellbinders Large Die of the Month Club kit for June 2022. It's actually really pretty, and it's layerable but not layerable. It's a beautiful, it's called Paisley Dreams, and there is a beautiful hello sentiment to go with all the Paisley elements. I'm going to keep my card pretty simple today, but I love this that there's florals in here, and then elements that can stack on top of each other. For example, this piece can stamp on this piece, or stack on this piece, and then this piece you can switch out these, and then this can layer on top of here. But a lot of layering elements. But we are going to jump in and do a little bit of die cutting. Put my coffee aside, and I have some white cardstock. I thought we would do a little bit of ink blending today, and we're going to be using the little leaf or petal Paisley piece, and I'm going to die cut this out 3 times without the insert, and then I'm going to use the insert that has the daisy or the flower in it, the full flower. There's a daisy in here too that can layer on top of this daisy, and we're going to die cut out this insert 3 times without the insert 3 times, and then 3 daisies. And there is this piece too that you can add details to, and I'm going to die cut this out just a couple of times because this actually has 5 pieces in it, but it's just 1 die, which makes it easy to die cut. So I am going to run everything. Oh, and my hello, you might as well die cut everything at once. It makes it easier. But I'm going to take my hello, and I'm going to use the brand new Cloudy Sky, or Partly Cloudy cardstock. I love this because it's that smoky blue. Let me show you. Partly cloudy, but it's real pretty, subtle blue. And I'm going to die cut my hello out with this. So when I'm done, I will be right back. Everything is nice and die cut, and everything is in white, and so we're going to do a little bit of ink blending. For the flowers here, is a little die that will die cut out flower centers, but I thought we would use some gems for our flower center, so I didn't use that to die cut it out. But I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to do a little bit of blending. I'm going to bring in my craft mat here. I did die cut out a piece of foam too to put behind my hello. So we'll set this aside. And I'm not going to ink blend on the solid. I'm going to ink blend on the detailed pieces. I'm going to zoom in here. And then I chose some colors that I thought were very toned down and soft. I'm using Stormy Sky, Bundled Sage, Spun Sugar, and Tattered Rose. All of these have like a vintage kind of a feel to them. And we're going to use these for coloring, and we're going to start, let me scoot them all in so you can see the colors. Sage. I'm going to use my finger daubers to go over them. Now an alternative would be you could use a sheet of white cardstock and then do all your ink blending, but I wanted all 4 colors on this little piece, so I thought this would be a better way to do it, and it's very simple. First, I'm going to use my finger daubers. I'm going to get some ink here. I'm going to go over the upper portion of my detail piece. I might as well do all 3 at once. I think this Paisley is really pretty. Okay, after we have the blue down, we're going to bring in our green, which is Bundled Sage, and then we're going to blend these 2 together and trail down. Looks great. And then we're going to bring in our Spun Sugar. Pick some ink up. It's a very soft pale pink. I'm going to add some of this, leaving a little bit of room down on the bottom for our last color. I think I'm going to add a little bit of a darker pink here in some areas. think that looks good. Darker pink would probably be worn lipstick. That's what the ink that's left over on my finger dauber. Okay, and then last color is Tattered Rose. It's nice using inks I haven't used in a while. Usually I've been creating some very bright summery colors. But for Paisley, I think this is a nice color combination. And looks like we're good to go. Now after we have our ink blending done, we put our inks aside, and then we're going to bring in our backgrounds, flipping over our ink blended area. We're going to use a little bit of glue, and there is room to go around the outline. Tap a few dots on the flowers, and then I'm going to use my tweezers, and this will layer right on top of it, but instead of layering right on top, I think I'm going to offset it a little bit so we have that that white just peeking out off the edge. And I love the way this looks. It kind of adds a different dimension to it. Now I'm going to do the same to the rest. Okay, now that we have our Paisley pieces done, we have these little pieces, and using my glue once more, I'm going to add a dot of glue to the center of each of the daisies. And then on each one of these, there is some, like, I would call it flower buds. At the very circle point of those flower buds here, I'm going to add a dot of glue. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see where I'm putting the dot of glue. You can see at the very circle end here. Because we can add these little pieces. They'll fit right in there. And these I'm going to keep white. We'll add our flower. And I'm going to follow along and do the same thing to these. Okay, so these are all done. And now we need to work on our background. Oh, actually, before we go, I'm going to take some gems. We might as well doctor these up all at once. The gems that I'm using are the Color Essential gems. This is the Spectrum AB. And I'm going to add the largest gem in the center of my daisy. I'm calling it a daisy, but it's just a flower. And then in the center of these little flower buds, you can fit a smaller one, and it kind of completes that little flower bud. Oh, wants to stick to my hands. I'm thinking the second smallest will fit perfectly. Let me zoom in here. Fit perfectly in that little section there. Okay, I'm going to continue with the rest of my flowers, and I will be right back. After we have our gems adhered to our Paisley pieces, I think they look really pretty. We're going to set these aside. And I was looking at my, what was the name of this? Partly Cloudy die cut Hello, and I think I'm going to change this up from the blue. I need a contrasting color, so I'm thinking about using a dark gray for this instead. This is Graphite. I'm going to use some Graphite cardstock from the Color Essentials collection, and I'm going to die cut out the Hello with Graphite. I think this will give me a lot more contrast with those soft colors. Okay, so we'll set these aside. I'm going to bring back my craft mat. we're going to do a little bit of ink blending on a panel. This measures 3 3/4 inches wide by 5 inches tall. And I want to add, this is going to sound weird, but I think the bold against these soft colors is going to look really pretty. I'm going to use my Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide ink, and then using a blending brush, I'm going to pick up some of this color, and I'm going to intensify it on the edge here and then kind of fade out at the halfway mark. So we're going to add it here. I think I better flip it around. Good. I want it a little bit darker on the end, so I'm going to bring in black soot. And I just want to go on the end here. I think that looks really good. Okay, and while I have my black soot out, I'm going to add a little bit of black to the very bottom using a finger dauber. Graphite cardstock is a pretty dark gray, but I want definitely a gradient on my hello. So I'm going to add it to the very bottom and kind of fade up with my finger dauber. And you probably can't see it against my gray mat. Let's get a piece of white cardstock. You can kind of see the little bit of a gradient. Okay, we'll put this aside, and I'm going to wipe off my inky fingers. Now what we're going to do is take a corner rounder. I'm going to use my crocodile here. Using the 1/2 inch side, I want to round this corner on top, and I'm also going to round it on my card base. My card base today is a standard A2 size card base, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Okay, we're going to flip around our panel, and then I have some, I don't use my black pop-up foam sheets very often, but this is a good opportunity to use them, so that's what we're going to do. I just rounded the corner off my fun foam. Well, it's actually not fun foam, it's Spellbinders foam, which die cuts beautifully. I'll place that on the back, and then we're going to adhere this to our card base. And I like to add adhesive directly to my card base and then tack down my foam. Okay, we're going to take our Paisley pieces, and we're going to add some foam adhesive behind here. Okay, I want to bring in, I'm going to use my hello, and I want to put it here. But I want something over here, so I'm going to bring in my I'm Here For You sentiments. This is a stamp set from Spellbinders. They're all block letters, which is really nice. And I want to keep smiling. I'll grab my acrylic block, and I'm going to use my Memento ink. I'm only going to need a partial piece. I'm trying to figure out which piece I need. We're going to just basically use the L and the O. And then I'll flip over my hello, and then we're going to add some glue. Just a couple dots. And then we can add our foam. I'm going to use my tweezers. We'll pick up our hello, and then I can place this on my card. Lightly tack it down. I think that bold with the soft is really pretty. Okay, and then last but not least, I think we're going to add a few extra of our gems here. I'm going to use the tiny ones. I love these little tiny ones. Okay, and then that will finish my project today using the Spellbinders Large Die of the Month Club Kit for June 2020. Something a little bit different. It's called Paisley Dreams. And I hope you enjoyed my project. Have a wonderful day. We will see you again next time. Bye-bye.